Humanitarian groups are scrambling to help provide aid to civilians caught in the war between Israel and Hamas. Those efforts are being complicated by a blockade of Gaza that's cut off access to food, fuel, and other supplies. For more on this, I'm joined now by Nabil Ali, Chief Operations Officer with the International Development and Relief Foundation. Nabil, good to have you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
So can you describe how your organization has been impeded by this blockade in Gaza to start?
Well, our organization's been working in Gaza for many years, providing long-term infrastructural programs such as building hospitals. During the pandemic, we established the first 2 oxygen plants there to support people that were in need. Whether there's any aggressions or any conflict that happened in Gaza, IDRF was always there to respond, provide long-term support services, but also help families when they needed it most. However, since the latest aggressions and the attacks that's killed hundreds of people, we as an organization are limited in what we can do, right? Many aid organizations across Gaza are limited in what they can do, where restrictions are imposed and it's not safe for our teams to go out and provide the aid that's critical. We know there's needs across the board, and a lot of the infrastructure has been attacked, whether it's schools and safe havens for families and children, and there's a serious need right now to kind of save as many people as possible.
Okay, Nabil, we were losing you for a second there in terms of your audio. We had trouble hearing you, but we heard most of your answer, and I just want to ask you as well, what are you seeing what are your aid groups then seeing right now? Are they able to get in and out with the aid they need, or is that limited as well at this time?
Right now, things are limited, right? The only thing that's accessible within Gaza at this time is whatever's within Gaza. And even within that, it's stretched thin, right? You're looking at 400,000 people across Gaza City that are in need. There's limited access to food, clean water, very limited access to healthcare infrastructure overall, right? Schools are being bombed. Overall, the broader infrastructure of Gaza is limited. So what we as aid workers have and our teams have on the ground is limited. So what we're asking for and what we're calling for is for humanitarian channels to be open, to ensure that the most vulnerable families, women, children get access to the aid that they desperately need. And at this time, it's quite challenging to get access to that.
And how many people are living in this region right now that you know of that potentially need access to food, water, or medical attention?
Right now, the reports are 400,000 people at a minimum, and then that number is only going to go higher, right? People living across Gaza were already in dire situations and were in need of support, long-term support, that is, right? Water infrastructure across the region was limited. Food, there's always a broader food shortage. Now with the latest bombings that have happened at the Egypt and Gaza border crossing, it's going to be even harder to get aid into Gaza, right? So overall, right now, we're looking at 400,000 people, but that number is unfortunately only going to skyrocket if things don't de-escalate, and that's what we're calling on humanitarian corridors to be open, and that aid workers can get access to people that need the support services, right? Like places where children go to school, where families live, and these are not places that people should be getting attacked in or killed. And this is what we need to do, is we need to really target supporting those who need our services the most.
Are you optimistic that those calls will be met? Do you think those channels will be opened?
We hope so. We hope so. We hope that humanitarian law is upheld, right? And we hope that, as a global society and as a global community, global leaders can come together to really push for this, right? Civilians should never be caught in these moments. And I think humanitarian work needs to be at the forefront of that. And we need to ensure that these civilians are protected, that they get the access to the clean water, the basic necessities, clean water, food, healthcare services, right? This is the key challenge that we know that people are dealing with on the ground. And people in Gaza are resilient. They continue to go through challenges like this for decades, and so they are resilient people. But that shouldn't be a reason why they shouldn't be their needs shouldn't be prioritized. They need their services. They need services now, and as a global society and a global community, we need to respond in a way that's effective and immediate. Like right away, we need to get aid on the ground.
And just lastly, Nabil, before I let you go, we know that there are still some pockets of fighting in those areas. How real is the threat of violence when it comes to aid workers?
It's really real. I mean, we have teams on the ground. I have a team member that's on the ground, Mohammed. He works for our team there in Gaza, and it's scary messages you get. And I was speaking to him throughout the night, and just yesterday he shares with me that he goes, "Hey Nabil, look, he goes, I'm a family of 5, him, his wife, and 3 of his children, and they're all split across Gaza with the worry that they don't want to all die at the same time, right? So families shouldn't have to think of right? That they can't be with their wife or their children during such a critical and such a difficult time. And also an aid worker, while trying to understand what we can do and what we can't do, it's like, what do you prioritize and how do you do that, right? So these aren't decisions that people that are innocent shouldn't have to deal with, right? And this is such a difficult and challenging time, and that's a real scenario of what we're dealing with as an organization, just amongst our team. And we have several partners across Gaza. So I'm sure any other organizations has similar challenges, and it's such a difficult time for those who have families that are there, those who are aid workers that are there, that are trying to provide services, trying to get aid out to people that need it, but also are at risk of risking their lives in doing so. So we want to ensure we do no harm and follow the humanitarian principles in that as well.
Okay, Nabil, we appreciate you taking the time today. Thank you.
Thank you.